Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, Dumbfounding Definitions, Dizzying Distinctions, and Diabolical Doctrines, a series sorting through some of the jargon of philosophy. In this video, we're going to be looking at what is the No True Scotsman Fallacy. Now, the No True Scotsman Fallacy is a fallacy about denying counterexamples to universal generalizations. The quintessential example comes from Antony Flew, who coined the fallacy. He asks us to imagine a nationalist Scot who reads about a heinous sex crime in the newspaper with no suspects and concludes the perpetrator could not be Scottish because, quote, no Scotsman would do such a thing. A few days later, the perpetrator is caught and discovers to in fact be Scottish. Instead of changing his mind that no Scotsman would do such a thing, the nationalist insists that really no true Scotsman would do such a thing. In its most general form, the No True Scotsman Fallacy is about the relationship between universal generalizations, all P are Q, and the negation of existential instantiations, some P are not Q. Simply put, if you assert that all S are R, and someone finds an S that is not R, you should abandon your initial claim to remain rational. The specific claim generally takes precedence because it is easier to prove. It's really hard to find all S for most things, whereas it's easy to find just one S that's not R. It's much harder to justify a statement about all individuals in a group than a single individual without specific information about all those individuals. However, this fallacy is often used to mean a more specific fallacy about in-groups that someone is a member of. In this more specific sense, it is a situation where person X claims some person Y as a member of their in-group until Y does something which X disagrees with, which sometimes has no bearing on that in-group status at all. At which point, Y, instead of accepting that some members of their in-group do things they disagree with, denies that X was ever a member of the in-group to begin with. And if that's a little confusing with the variables, don't worry, we'll look at several examples. So, for example, one might imagine a politician from Idaho who is seen by his constituency as a real Idahoan. However, one day this politician votes for a policy which is unpopular in Idaho and is quickly denounced as no longer a true, real Idahoan. The policy has nothing to do with where he is from, and a minority in Idaho do in fact support the policy. So the majority have no right to claim he's no longer a true Idahoan simply because of voting for something that they dislike. That has nothing to do with his state residency. This fallacy is often seen in politics, where politicians are accused of being rhinos, Republicans in name only, or dinos, Democrats in name only, despite these individuals supporting all or the vast majority of the party's platform. This comes from a human desire to think that everyone in our in-group is exactly like us, and if someone is even slightly different, they must be someone from the out-group in disguise. This can be seen in so-called litmus tests, where opponents say a candidate is not a real member of the party if they don't support no new taxes or Medicare for all. These litmus tests of party affiliation are fallacious, since there are many dimensions to politics, and defining a candidate's party based on one issue, such as an opinion on a very small single issue, or even their loyalty to another candidate, just because you care about that issue or you care about that candidate, is fallacious. This can be even more complicated with religion, as morality is often linked to the very definition of religious terms. But religions that think assent to a particular belief is sufficient for membership, or that a particular sin is wrong but doesn't mean you're kicked out of the religion, are susceptible to this fallacy. For example, adherents who believe that all you need to do to be a Christian is to, quote, accept Jesus, might claim that a gay man who accepts Jesus must not really be a Christian due to homophobic beliefs. Once again, you should be able to see the fallacy here of if you claim that all you need to do to be a member of this group is live in this particular place, accept this particular proposition, etc., and then someone does something that you don't like that has nothing to do with the actual membership of being in that in-group as you initially defined, and then you decide that they must not be part of your in-group because they're bad for whatever reason, that is fallacious. So let's take a look at some examples. To the general version we spoke of before. Say you claim all swans are white, someone goes and finds a black swan. Well, that isn't a true swan because it's black, and my definition says all swans are white. What you should do is revise your view and say most swans maybe are white. All sea dwellers are fish. Whales live in the sea, and that should be C-S-E-A, not S-E-E. All whales live in the sea but are mammals. Therefore, whales aren't true sea dwellers. Once again, that's not the conclusion you should reach. Rather, you should revise your initial universal generalization. We can also look at some specific examples. So, all Christians are good people. What about the pastors that abused children? They weren't true Christians. And similarly, all Democrats respect women's rights. What about the Democratic politicians that abused women? Well, they weren't true Democrats, clearly. Obviously, as in with the general examples, the problem is that you are taking a specific example, in the specific cases about an in-group member, and saying that, oh, they did something that doesn't have to do with your membership in that in-group, but we don't like, and so we're going to kick them out of that in-group because we don't want to identify with people that do something we view negatively. What do you think? Where have you seen the no true Scotsman fallacy used? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video and you want to see more, subscribe, hit the notification bell, watch this video and more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical.